Hey everyone, this is Daniel, and in today's video, we're going to talk about Power App's AI enhancement to change 3D models. Well, that sounds like a good title, but what exactly does that mean? Well, I'll tell you. Now, we're using this new functionality. When you're in the Power App's mixed reality mode, like in the Canvas app, in that mixed reality control, you no longer have to switch out of the mixed reality control to change your model. You can do it while you're in the mixed reality mode. So that's why I thought that this is now the perfect time for me to walk you through the entire process. First, where do I get some good quality sample 3D models? I'll show you. Where do I save them in the data source in my tenant? What's a good place? I'll show you that as well. Finally, we'll go and actually build a good sample app so that you can start using it and exactly see how it works, and it'll be fully functional as well. So stick around. This is a very important video for you to watch. But first, here's my intro video. So let's get started. Now, the first thing I want to do is find a place where we can get some good samples for these 3D models. And there's no better place than the actual samples that Microsoft themselves have provided. So here it is, and I've put that link down in the description below. You can click on it and go exactly to the same location. And this is basically in Github. And in Github, we've actually provided all of these things. Now, if you scroll down over here, you will notice that for every sample, there's two things. There is the image, and then there is the 3D. So the images are coming as PNG files, and then the 3D models are coming as GLB. So what I recommend is you basically go over here and you just download this entire model. And to do that, you basically come to the Get Code area and you download this download zip. When you go and download the zip, it actually gives you a zip file of all of this information. You'll basically get all of this thing over here. That way you will have all those files, all those images with the 3D models, and you're pretty much set to start doing the demos that you want. So this is where we get the sample data. And so now that we've got the data, where do I go ahead and place this information so that my Power Apps can actually reference that? Where do I do it? And so for that, I'm actually going to go to a very simple place that I'm familiar with. It is SharePoint. So you can use any of your existing SharePoint sites that you have access to create these type of lists. It could be a standalone SharePoint site. It could be one tied to your teams. Any one of them will work. So what I did was I first went back to my GitHub and I actually went ahead and downloaded that file, that zip file that I talked about. It's a 399, so it's about 400 megs. So once you go ahead and right click on that, you unzip it, you get this folder, and this folder has all of this information over here. Now all this information, basically you got to make sure that it's got the GLB files and the PNG, and these are the files that I will use for this demo over here. We'll just pick a few of them. All right, so now what I'm going to do is now go move this away from here. We're going to go back to our settings over here and make sure that you need access to create list. That's the important one, all right? So once you do that, you go to your settings on the top right, it looks like a gear, and then you come to site contents. And in site contents, after that, you can click on new, and on new, I'm going to go and create a list. Now I create a blank list, and the blank list, just give it some names. So I'm just going to call that mine as 3D models. And I'll go and make sure that I don't want to show site navigation, and I'll just leave that as is, and I'll go and hit create. So the good thing about this demo is I don't need to create more additional columns. I'll just leave it at that for now, but I just got to make sure that I can go ahead and add the attachments. So let's go and pick a few attachments and start adding them over here, because once the attachments are there, in order for those 3D ones and in order for that new functionality, you know, the pop-up that comes I talked about, there's a little bit of more enhancement we have to do in the SharePoint list, but let's at least go and add some data. So what I'll do is I'll actually come over here, I'll add new, and in my new, I'll go ahead and now put in which is the first one. So I'll say this is going to be bird of paradise. All right, actually let's make that bird of paradise. And I'll click over here, and in my attachment, I'm going to go and grab my attachment right here, paste that in. And in my bird of paradise, I'll go and select that one. So that's going to be my file. I'll get that one right here. And I'll also go ahead and add the bird of paradise 3D file. Actually, it's this one right here, the 3D file. So we've got that one taken care of. I'll go click on save. And I just make sure that I always got the correct ones. The bird of paradise, which is the GLB file, bird of paradise, which has got the PNG file, both of them are here. Now, some of these files can be big, like there's 16 megs, there is some higher numbers over there. So that's why it takes a little bit of extra time for it to kind of upload and save it over here. But these are the type of files that we need reference with. Now, once you see that one file comes in, I just got to make sure all the data is coming in. So what I'll do is I'll go back to my settings. I'll go to my list settings. In my list settings, I'll scroll down. On the views which says all items, I'll click on all items. And in my all items, I'm going to go and actually get some of the columns. They're already there, but I want to go and add them to my view. So the first thing is I want to grab my ID. So I'll click on my ID column and I'll move that over to column number 1. Next, I'll also do when it was created because I want to see that. Also, I want to see the attachments. So I think I'm good for now. So I'll click on OK. And at least now I've got some signs of all this information that is coming in, right? Now let's keep going. I'm going to go and add a few more. So I'll click on new. I'm going to go ahead and now grab the coffee mug. So I'll click on attachments. And in my attachments, I'm going to say I'm going to get the coffee mug. So I'll click on the coffee mug PNG. By the way, I need to type the title as well. So I'll go COFFEE and mug. And I got the PNG file, which is just the image, but I got to click on the attachments again. And for that coffee mug, I'm going to go ahead and also get the GLB file. So I'll do that. So far, we're looking good. I went and at least grabbed 2 more. Let's at least, grab 2 so far. Let me go ahead and grab a few more. So I'll go ahead and now put in this modern armchair. I like that modern armchair. So I'm going to go get that one. Modern armchair. I'll do that. Click on the attachments. And in my attachment, I'll actually come down. There it is, the modern armchair. So that's the PNG file. Grab that. Click on save. Oh, I got to click on that again. Edit. I got to add another attachment. And for that modern armchair, we also need the 3D file, the GLB file. So that's right here. Go and grab that. Save it. And we're good. I'll go ahead and keep these 2 now for now because we'll start to have to do some additional work on that. Now, in order for the enhancement to work, we cannot directly reference the attachments column because you've seen me do that in some other videos. Attachments column is actually almost a table by itself because we're adding multiple things, right? In that one attachment, I'm adding the image file, the PNG, I'm adding the GLB. So even though this is one attachment column, it's actually a sub table by itself. And we can't do this for this new enhancement. So for that, I'm just going to go ahead and add 2 other columns. One column will be the image and the other column will be the 3D file. So what I'll do is I'll come back over here to my settings. In my settings, I'll go back to my list settings. And in my list settings, both of them are the same column type. We just got to give them different names. So I'll click on create column. And my create column, I'm going to call the first one as image link. It will be of a type hyperlink or picture, but make sure that for the format URL as you select the drop down and change it from the hyperlink to picture. That's a very important thing. Don't forget this piece over here. So we went and now got the image link. I'm also going to go and get the 3D link. So I'll go and grab that as 3D link. I'm going to create the column. In the create the column, I'll go ahead and start typing in the name 3D link. Come back to and select the hyperlink or picture. Scroll down a little bit. Change the hyperlink to picture. And now I'll go ahead and click on OK. So we've got these 2 columns added over here. And if I want, I can also go back to my all up for views, all items, and I can go and add the 2 as well. By default, it already happens. Not a bad idea for you to come and check on this, right? So we've gone ahead and done this. Now I got to actually put data in over here. Here is how you do it. So we're going to come back into our link right now. I've just clicked on it. I'm not actually going to edit it yet. But when you come and see it, you want to actually click on it. When you actually click on it for the GLB one, the 3D ones, it automatically goes ahead and downloads it. Well, I don't want to do that. I actually want the link. So let's skip the GLB for now. Let's go ahead and actually do the PNG file. The PNG works well. For the images, it works well. And this is basically what I need, is I need that one, this entire URL. And it does go ahead and put in the attachments and go ahead and put this number over here. Just don't confuse that this number, oh, that's tied to the list ID. So if the list ID number is 1, this will always be 1. It sometimes is different. So don't go ahead and assume that, all right? That's why I come back to that SharePoint list, click on the list item, go to the image, click on the image, and you grab that URL. So I've actually selected it, got highlighted, doing a Control C, and I'll go and close this. Now I'm going to go and do an edit. So in the edit now, I've got the image link. So here's what you can do, all right? To make it easier, for that enter URL, you've got the URL pasted. I did a Control V. Alternative text, you can actually type in something that you want, or be as easy as I am. I just put another text paste over here. So in both the cases, I've got the URL. So now I'm going to click on save. And when I click on save, over here, I'm beginning to see an error. Well, I should have at least seen the image. So let's go and take a look at what is going on. All right. So the image link is on the top. I am guessing somehow there's double links coming in. And let's just go and take a look. Yep, see, somehow there's double links. You see how that it ended with the .png and then there's HTTPS. So I'm going to now make sure I go right over here. I've got my shift button and now I'm going to click on home. and I'll click that just to make sure that I've got now the correct link, all of it. So I'll go back in, delete that. Now if I click on save, see now the image comes through. So the fact that the image was giving me an error over there is a good sign. We were able to troubleshoot that fast enough. So kind of keep that in mind that this is what's happening. All right, so we were able to now go ahead and grab that image link, and just to make sure, here's what I'm putting it. This is the image link, and it's got the attachments. It's attachment number 1. Well, does that mean that my attachment for the OneDrive also works the same way? I mean, for the 3D files also works the same way? Well, let's go and take a look. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to come back and click on this link over here, and I'm going to go back to my ellipses on the top. I'm going to go to More Tools, and I'm going to go to Developer Tools. And in my developer tools, and by the way, you don't have to do all of this. I just want to prove a point, is how do I get that link? But hey, if you're also using Chrome, if you're also using Google Chrome, or if you're using the Edge browser, you can follow along over here. So I go and select this icon on the top right, that little icon, because it helps me highlight the exact item that I'm looking for. So when I go and select it, I am now able to go ahead and grab what is that full URL. And see, as I'm scrolling to the right, see, it says attachments 1, the file name, and it is also GLB. So here is how I'm able to prove directly is that, okay, all that needs to be changed is this last piece. That number 1 stays the same. All I got to do is change that last piece over here, which means all I need to do is get the correct file name. And the way I've gone ahead and these files that you are also going to download, the one thing I love about the name is that the prefix, the dots prefix are all the same names. The only thing that changes is the extension. What that means is that, for example, bird underscore off underscore paradise underscore blue dot PNG. That prefix is always the same. All that changes is the .glb. So guess what? We can do the same thing over here. Instead of PNG, I'm going to replace that as GLB. Now I'll go and do a Control-C to copy it. Now I can actually close this off over here altogether. I'm going to do an edit, and now I'm going to do this one over here. Same thing. Link and the text, both of them, paste the whole thing over here, and I'll click on save. Now here's an important thing. Remember, for the image, I said you, hey, do it until the image is there, otherwise you just did something bad. For that 3D, right now as we stand in SharePoint, it doesn't show these 3D models. So this image link over here, or the 3D model link, is going to show broken. So what you could do is leave it here as is, or you just take that out from the view so that you don't avoid any confusion. Do whichever you think is right, all right? So now that you understood how to do this, let's go and get these other ones as well. So I'm going to click on this coffee mug. Click on the coffee mug. Let's go grab this PNG file. Click on the PNG file. I'll double click on it. And this time I'm going to save me some trouble. I'll actually paste it here in my OneNote. All right. I mean, in my notepad. Got it. Now I'm going to go and highlight that one. Come back into our SharePoint list. Now I'll click on edit for that list item. And this is the image. So I'm going to paste it both for the URL and for the alternative text. Go back in over here. And I'll now just change that PNG to the GLB. Again, highlight the whole thing, come back in, paste it, save it, and there we go. We know that we did it correctly because the image showed up. Also, let's go and finish the last one, is the modern armchair. Click on it, click on the link of the PNG, so we get that image. I'll go and close this one. I'll double click on it, so I got it. Do a Control-C, come back to my text, paste it over here, and do a Control-C just to make sure all I get is one link. And I'll go back to my item. Now I'll click on Edit All. And for the image link, I'll put the URL, put the text, back away to my OneNote, and I just change this to GLB. And I'll go and highlight that entire one, and I'll paste it over here. And guess what? We are done with building the data source. A very simple but a very powerful data source has been created to get your 3D files. And now that we've got both the files and we've got both of the images as well, for the image and for the 3D, we can now go ahead and start making it from the Power Apps standpoint. So let's go do that one. So I'm here now in my Power Apps Canvas app, and I'm going to click on New, and I'm going to click on Canvas. And this one, I'll call it as 3D Models. And I'm going to select the phone. The format is going to be for a phone. I'll click on Create, and it's going to go and go through all of this. This is great. Get started, getting things ready. Any second now, it'll get me into the Canvas Studio, and here we are. Now, once you're in, you know one of the important things you got to do is click on File, and you got to click on Save. You have to do that because until and unless you do it, it is not going to, you're not going to lose all that information. The first time, always go ahead and save it. I have lost tons of work and a little bit of patience because I forgot to save that first time. Never forget to save that first app. Cool. So we're going to go and keep the screen one, and I'm going to rename the screen now and keep that as, just home screen or main screen, something. All right, that's what I do over here. Next, I gotta go and get that data source. So I click on this data option over here, add data, click on all connectors, see all connectors, and then you can start typing in SharePoint. There you go, got the SharePoint. This is the first time I'm actually doing it, so I can go and now click on connect. I have to go ahead and authenticate in. If you already have a SharePoint connector, you may not have to do all of this in. This is the first time I'm getting that SharePoint connection, so I had to do that first authentication. And great, these were the only two sites I had, so I'll click on that site, and it automatically picks up the list that we created, the 3D models. So I'll select that, click on connect, and there you go. We did the most important thing was actually go ahead and get our data source, the data source that we just built a few minutes ago. And so now I can actually go ahead and just drag and drop my gallery in. So I'll just go ahead and grab this gallery, go ahead and put it in over here. It pulls it in, and I'll just go ahead and highlight that right there, selected, and the images should start coming in. There you go. There's 3 of them, and it actually pulled in all the information that I needed right there. So it's perfect. I won't mess around with it. But just to be sure, we've actually got the image, we've got the ID, and we've got the actual name. So we've got all of them over here. Perfect. And by the way, this image that you click on there, it's coming from the image link. So that's another verification that our link is working directly inside Power Apps over here. Very nice way to go and do that, all right? So again, I'm just going to go ahead and go to my file and click on save, because the next thing I want to do is now start working on the 3D model piece. So what I like to do is I come back over here and I'm going to create another new screen, and I'll just create a blank screen. And in this blank screen is where we're going to add not the 3D model, but just the 3D view, because I want to see what I selected. For that, you click on image, and right over there, 3D object, click on that 3D object, and then you just basically help enough to fill it up. It just makes it look a little bit nicer so you can actually see what's going on. Fill it up just enough for you to be able to view what is going on. Now, I like that by default, it actually does go to GitHub and pick up a sample one, which is great. But what we got to do is we got to go ahead and actually get the link for that 3D one over there. So there's 2 ways you can do that. You can actually go now straight to your link over here. And I'm going to go ahead and comment this one out. Commenting means I go all the way to the top, click on these forward slashes, and it comments it out. And I go back to the end. And by the way, if you're not familiar with this, you can go back to the end. You can hold your shift button and hit enter, and it takes you to the next line. All right, just very simple way to do that. So what you do is now over here, you say that, okay, whatever was the gallery item selected, its image link, I want you to show that over here. And basically you write in almost exactly what I just told you. So I say now gallery 1 right there, dot selected, and here you can actually start searching for it because the name's already there. So I'll go down and I'll say that there's the 3D link, click on the 3D link, and it says the moment I do that, it's already starting to load. And there, the information will come in right on any second now, because that's the 3D link. Just to recap, this 3D link, see, it wasn't working over here, but that 3D link is going to be helpful. So that is how it works over here. See, it's actually going ahead and getting us this information, which it actually shows our bird of paradise, but it gives you a little bit more effect over here. That is one way to go ahead and get that. But here's an example. What if you've only added attachments and you've not gone ahead and gotten those links? Well, then how do I just reference the attachments? For that, I'll show you this one trick. So watch here. I will continue to go ahead and use the gallery1.selected dot, but I'm going to replace this one from the dot, and I'm going to add attachments. Now, in the attachments, it's going to give you this error. What you got to do is tell which one is the attachment that you're getting. Is it going to be the first one or the last one? I'll show you what that means. So go ahead and add this one right here, open the close brackets, and then right now for that image, you want to go ahead and put in first. The moment you do that, go back to the end. Click on dot, and now select the value that you have over here. So you can select the value, and any second now you should start seeing it load. So it's loading, and it's going to go ahead and load our 3D models. The other neat thing is right over here, it tells you what that effect is going to be. What is that information that's coming in? So see, it went ahead and loaded it, and now you can actually go and see that same model. So there's 2 ways I showed you how you can use these formulas. One is basically just do the gallery1 selected dot attachments and then just reference that column name, which is 3D link, or you can reference the attachment directly using this formula. Either one of those work. Cool. So now in the app, we're coming in and we're allowing the users to see, hey, is this that 3D model that you selected? And now, in fact, we can also go and, go out over here, and the moment I've selected, I got to actually put some ways, right? If I went ahead and done on this gallery, in the gallery, and it's on select, we're going to actually navigate. And I'm going to navigate, and I'll navigate over to screen number 2, and I'll close that. And in the home screen, we just got to add something else so we can go back to our other screen as well. So I'll go to my home. I usually do add, and this is just my style again, is I actually go ahead and put in whatever is the first icon. And then once it's added, which is always usually the plus one, come back over here, and then I just search for home. and it gives me that. That way I don't have to just keep clicking on icons and searching. I don't care. I just click the first one and then I go and search over there. So back on the home thing, I'm going to say navigate. I could do navigate, or I could even use the back function. Both of those work. Okay. So do that, and I'll just make sure I move this down a little bit, and we are good to go. So in fact, as a test, you can do that. I'll go ahead and click this one here, go outside, coffee mug. Let's go and select the coffee mug. Comes back into the next screen. It only shows you the 3D model, basically the 3D object. It is going ahead and loading. Once it loads, you'll be able to see your 3D object that you've done over there. It is the selected item. See, that's the button. And since it is this view, it actually fully works over here. All right. So this is the good preview section. Now let's go into the 3D model one and see how that 3D model effect works. So for that, now I'm going to actually come to my insert. I'm going to go to the mixed reality, and over there, I'm going to go ahead and put in view in mixed reality. That's the button that we want. And I say button because even though we're actually selecting an entire control, like 3D model control, it actually comes in what looks like a button. So I'm going to go ahead and just drop that button down, and we can actually spend a few minutes understanding what this is over here. So right now you can see that it went and grabbed its own source. It went and did all of this thing. You can add shadows into your 3D model. This is one of my personal favorites, because what it does is when you're having a 3D model, you're projecting a 3D model to your phone, by default, it's a shadow over there. And there was a video that I had done how I can add that vertical lift, that new functionality that came in. I put that link down below, by the way. It was a demo that I was doing where I had that little bookcase and I raised that bookcase to a certain higher level. Moment I did it, it had a shadow right below it. Go check out that video. That was one of the awesome features of where that shadow really comes into practice, all right? And then for after that, I'll just leave it as this because there's nothing else I need to do. What I do need to function on right now is how I go ahead and get all those other controls so I can make it work. And while I'm in the mixed reality model, I should be able to go ahead and change the model type. There's a little setting we got to take care of over there. So make sure that you've selected your 3D model one, which is right over here, view in mixed reality. And over here, we're going to go ahead and now change a few properties. And the ones that you want to mess around with is actually the items. I said mess around. The ones that you want to actually focus on is called as the items. So in the items, the first thing you want to look at is, okay, what is items? Where is all this data coming from? Well, all these items are coming from this gallery one. So what you got to do is come in and type in whatever is the gallery name that you have over here. I left that mine as a default, which is gallery one, but you could go ahead and change it to whatever you want. Make sure you get that correct one. So I click on gallery one, and now I click on all items. And there you go. I've gone and selected all items. So now I know what are those items. This is very important because based on this, we will start to see that new little control which will come up in the 3D model. One of those steps, all right? So we go ahead and took care of the items. Next thing is we want the items label, which is right below it. Well, where is all this items label coming from? Pretty simple. In our SharePoint list, the items label is coming from our title column. And I'll show you this little hint that it provides over here. See that it's got this double quotes over here? You add one double quote, IntelliSense starts to tell you that, hey, these are all the options that you have. And these options are coming in from your data source, which is the SharePoint list. So all I had to do was just search for title, clicked on it, and it already took care of the double quotes and everything for me. So I went and now successfully did the items label. Next, we want to go ahead and actually take a look at the items source. So I go down the way here and I go and take a look at the item source. The item source is actually coming from that 3D link that we got over there. Just to be sure, I come back over here and it's just called as 3D link. Now, I intentionally made a mistake over here to show you something. And to prove that, I'm going to go through this long way. I'm going to click on settings. I'm going to click on list settings. Let's go take a look at this 3D model right here, 3D link. I click on it and watch this URL on the top. All right, this URL on the top, it says field equals, and that is the actual column name that's going to show up on your Power Apps site. We don't know why SharePoint does that, but I want to bring that to your attention because watch, now I know that, hey, it's either going to be a 3D link or it may just be that information over here. So let me go to my Power Apps and now do the exact same thing we did. Item source, it gives me this double quotes. I'll go and close it. I'll add one double quote. IntelliSense gives me these options. And as I'm scrolling down over here, if I didn't show you what I just showed you, all you might be looking for is 3D links over here. I mean, the 3D image links. And that may not show up. You'll actually see we went down over here. However, we just passed this one, OData X0033D link. So because I showed you why it happens and now you should expect for it, it works over here. Now, Daniel, how do I do to fix this? I don't like this problem. Well, it's very simple. the next time you're creating this column, don't put a numerical value prefix. Just call it dimensional or 3THRE, something like that. Just don't put that 3 over here or numerical prefix, because that's what goes there and causes this little irritation over here, right? So just something to give you in mind. Again, is it bad? Is it a showstopper? Absolutely not. It will still work, but it could cause you a little bit extra time to go and find that data source, specifically that column. But now I showed you how to find it. And so we went and took care of the item source. I'm going to scroll down over here, and now we got to get the thumbnail. Well, the thumbnail could just be that image link that we have over here. All right, so I'm going to go and now just select that, go down over here, and for that, I'm just looking for the image. Click that, and we are actually done from going ahead and setting all of this up. And the best way to go and verify is go test it. So first things first is I go and click on File, click on Save, and then got the save. Once it's saved, we'll go ahead and click on Publish. Everything should be good enough. In fact, from here also, I just make sure that I've actually got a way to go ahead and return back. I think I did that home signal over there, the home icon, but let's see. Yep, put the home icon, so we're good. Now, let's go take a look at it from testing side. So I'm back in my phone, and there is Power Apps. So I'll click on Power Apps. It goes ahead and signs in. As you can see that this user really hasn't had any other apps. So that's why there's nothing on the favorites. There's nothing on the recents. However, on the bottom, if I click on all apps, that's the app that we just built and gave access to Adele. So I'm going to click on it. This is the first time the user is seeing it. So all this information is coming in. So I'll click on next. Done. The app is loading. Hey, that's just the gallery, the first screen that we created. It shows up. Now I'll click on the next one, and it takes me to this screen. Here is where we are just seeing the 3D view, and the 3D model is going ahead and loading. See, all of things that we did is actually working. So I click on the view in mixed reality. And one thing for you to note is that it's asking you to slowly go left, right. That's one of the things that we ourselves have to do. But I also want you to keep in mind that what we are seeing right now is we are inside the 3D model view. Don't get confused that, hey, Daniel, was this another screen that we had to add? No, all we had to do was add that 3D button. That 3D button, when you click on it, it takes you inside this mixed reality model view. Remember that, all right? It's not a separate screen. It's inside the 3D model view, automatically triggered by hitting that button over here. And there you go. So now I'm going to go and click on Tap Anywhere to Place. That's what it says, Tap Anywhere to Place. So I selected, and here is our 3D effect over here. See the shadowing piece? Love it. But that's not what we are here for. We are going to click on this cubicle button over here on the bottom. And the moment I do it, there we go. Now we are able to see all of those other controls directly inside the 3D model. So if I wanted to switch over to, say, that coffee mug, click on it, it goes ahead and actually does that. In fact, did you see that little cube that shows up momentarily? It's almost like the 3D's loading, image that shows up. Pretty neat. At least I think it's hilarious. So I go and now do this. Now I can actually go and switch around to the armchair, modern armchair. Click on it, see that loading happens over here. And then the armchair. Oh, that's a little too big, so let me go and make him smaller right over here. But there you go. We are able to switch around now 3D models thanks to this awesome functionality available over here. No longer getting outside, going to the app, selecting the next one, coming back in. No, while we are in the mixed reality view, we can go ahead and switch all of these models thanks to this new feature. Wasn't that awesome? In 30 minutes, I just walked you through how to go ahead and find the models, find a data source, and fully build a mixed reality 3D model app over here. Just keep in mind that one little tip that I showed you is that how, even though we uploaded the file and called that column name as 3D models, well, there is a little bit of change when the column name happens because of the numerical prefix. Keep that in mind. But other than that, the whole app was built, and now you are able to see the enhancement of the 3D model. That is, while we are in the 3D feature, you can go and select all of these other 3D models right over there. No need to get out, no need to get back in. So hopefully this was useful to you. And as always, keep using Power Apps. Hey everyone, hopefully you found this video useful. And if you did, can you help me help you? Can you subscribe to this YouTube channel? Because remember, I provide fresh content on a weekly basis, and it's 100% free. So if you have subscribed, thank you so much, and pass the word. But if you haven't, subscribe, click on the bell notification, and let the learning begin.